Welcome back to The Pulse. I am David Harris Jr. Well, it's being called the Battle of UCLA because pro-Hamas protesters have been fighting all night long with pro-Israel counter-protesters. The groups were seen swinging metal poles and lobbing explosives at each other. One young Jewish woman was sent to the emergency room after being beaten unconscious. University and city police did nothing to intervene as the fighting went on. Now some parents questioning whether it's safe to send their kids to these extremely high-priced universities. But in New York City, a glimmer of patriotism. Watch these NYPD officers rip down a Palestinian flag raised by spoiled college kids and replace it with the stars and stripes. So how can you make sure that your college kids turn out like these police officers instead of the snotty protesters siding with absolute heinous evil terrorists? Joining me now is the president of the National Federation of Republican Women, Julie Harris. Julie, thank you so much for joining me this evening. What are your thoughts on all these protests that are taking place at all these Ivy League colleges, and not even all of them Ivy League? So I saw protests happening at North Arizona State. It's pretty crazy to me, but what's your take?
Well, our colleges have become a battlefield, a war zone. It's very unfortunate. This is not what we parents are paying the universities to do, to radicalize our children. They have become an incubator of hate. You see foreign agitators, you see domestic agitators coming into these universities, spewing hate, provoking violence, radicalizing our young people. We don't even know what consequences there will be even further down the road. One of the things that I would like your viewers to realize is there is a lot of foreign influence on our college campuses. You see money, foreign money flowing to college campuses in several ways. A lot of Americans don't even think about it, but you see direct contributions, indirect contributions, foreign students paying full tuition, so the universities are less likely to call the police on foreign students who are bad actors. You see research money flowing, and even satellite schools in foreign countries who have no connection really back to the universities here in the States and how they educate. And it's very hard to track this. I recently did an interview for the members of the National Federation of Republican Women to educate them on this. And then we have also looked into what is the U.S. Congress doing to stop this. And we found out that Senator Tillis has a great bill. I mean, it's kind of stalled in the House. It's already, in the Senate. It's already passed the House, kind of stuck in the Senate. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that if it doesn't pass this time, we'll win the Senate next time, and it'll pass. And it requires the universities to disclose the foreign money flowing into them. So these are some things we can do, but something has got to be done. We are not sending our children to war when we send them to college.
You know, and I think that some of this was exposed during the whole, Summer of Love and the whole BLM riots and protests. It's like, here it is, round two, and parents are seeing, these universities taken over, and so many outside agitators are coming into these universities and then leading the rebellion, and then the kids are just like sheep. They're just following along, and they're there to be a part of it, and there to not be in school and not be in class and not there for their future, and the parents must be livid when they see this.
Well, if you think back to COVID, our kids got used not to being in class, unfortunately. And so they kind of have gotten used to it, and they like to do everything online now. So to them, they may have idle time on their hands. I'm not sure what's going on with these universities. But there's something that this and the last BLM riot had in common. They were both near election time. So this is very strategic. It
is election year.
This is very strategically planned.
I agree. I agree. And all of a sudden, most of the mainstream networks, aren't even talking about the border. They're not talking about the economy. They're not talking about inflation. They're not talking about gas prices. We do. I'm still going to do that here. We do that at Newsmax. But all the other mainstream outlets, it's like, let's divert the attention. It's kind of like the same thing that the universities do to the kids. Just follow along. This is what we want you to follow, and this is what we don't want you to do. And they're being programmed. So, I know we had a feed. There was Columbia University where there's prayer now that's happening, this Muslim call to prayer where these jihadis basically with their, full garb, their scarf wrapped around their head and their face, hiding themselves, are praying. It's the only time there's actual peace. Here we go. This is actually live outside of Columbia University, I believe, in New York. It's the only time we actually see them peaceful is when they're praying, but then stop the prayer, and then what do you expect is going to happen next? How much worse do you think that we should expect this is going to get across these college campuses?
I don't know that answer, but what I can guarantee you, this will backfire on the Biden administration and the Democrats. Americans are already terrified by the invasion of their country. We see our northern and our southern borders being invaded. We know that terrorists are coming through. We've heard from our members in Texas who know of 10 Syrians on property, and the local sheriff was able to apprehend 5 while 5 got away. That's just what we know about. So they're already fearful of what they see on the border. Now they see this with our young people. This is going to backfire.
Is it going to backfire as well with all of the suburban moms that's been the voting bloc that's been more anti-Trump than maybe any of the other voting blocs? Are they going to wake up because of this?
I believe that they will, and I will tell you the National Federation of Republican Women are going after the women. We are going to take our message straight to them. We're going to make sure that they know that the Republicans are the solution for this crisis. We do not have to win the majority of the women. We just got to get those numbers up a little bit to get President Trump through to victory, and I believe we can. We're already seeing those numbers come up. This college campus is helping us.
Now, I don't know if you know, obviously, you're with the National Federation of Republican Women. I wonder what the National Federation of Democrat Women are even talking about right now, because they can't talk about the border. They can't talk about these schools. They can't talk about Joe Biden's lack of addressing these issues. They don't want to talk about the Palestinians that may be getting resettled here. The last 30 seconds, what do you think they're talking about?
I don't know that they're really quite organized like us. They have the League of Women Voter. That's the National Democrat Women. And so, I think they're probably definitely not talking about voter integrity. So don't know what they're talking about, but I know what we're going to be talking about, and that's secure borders and turning our economy around, and that's President Donald Trump.
I hear you. Love it. Julie Harris, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
Coming up.